Selma, thank you for having me on the show. It was a pleasure. DJ EFN here, Crazy Hood Productions, one half of Drink Champs. Find me at DJ EFN, Twitter, at Who's Crazy on Instagram, crazyhood.com, drinkchamps.com. Thank you. What's up? Welcome to Crazy Hood Productions. Let me take you up to the office. Right here is the Brain Trust.
Nice.
Of course, can't be a DJ without your Technique 1200s. Shout out to Tractor. Got some of my vinyl collection. Got the Drink Champ sneakers there. Yep. Always gotta make sure we're safe on the camera. Shout out to Monster, sponsor. That's the crew right there. Crazy Hood Productions. Yeah, let's go. Let's see what we got downstairs. Check out some of the releases on the wall. So right here, we just got a little vocal studio where we record some vocals. One of the first awards I ever got. Shout out to Justo, rest in peace, Justo Mixtape Awards. And then over here, gotta definitely showcase his artwork. This is done with my boy and Miami graffiti legend, Trek 6. If you come to Miami, you go to the Wynwood area, you'll see there's a small building that he created, made it into a boombox. Trek 6, he's legendary. And then here we got a little podcast studio. We don't do Drink Champs here because this is not big enough for Drink Champs, but we do a lot of other podcasts here, and then friends and family come through and record and you know, whatever ideas they have for podcasting, let them do it here. Welcome to Crazy Hood Productions.
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to be part
absolutely.
of the
It's a
Kannon
pleasure.
show. I just want to, for our viewers to know, like, who you are, as far as...
Because it's a big, long story. I don't know. That's a loaded question.
Let's do it. Okay.
Well, I gotta condense some of it. Let's just start with the basics. So,
Okay.
I'm known as DJ EFN. EFN standing for Eric Fernando Narciandi, which is my full government name. My earlier names that I was thinking of was DJ E-Funk or DJ Funk E, and I just said, let me just go with my name.
Right.
I'm born in Los Angeles, California. Cuban parents that came after the revolution with all the stuff that happened with Cuba, and then moved to Miami. Stayed in Miami around 7 or 8 years old, and been here ever since. And basically, you know, was raised out here.
Okay. So how did you get in the music industry?
It was tough. I was a hip hop kid growing up, completely, you know, in the culture, living the culture, a fan of the culture, everything. And I got to a point in high school where I was trying to figure, like everybody else, trying to figure out, and
Right.
college didn't seem like a thing for me. I didn't, you know, I wasn't getting a scholarship, and college was going to be expensive. We were a low-income family. And the only thing that I gravitated towards was music. I just love music, and hip-hop was my music. You know, everything. I grew up in hip-hop. So I decided I wanted to pursue hip-hop. Didn't have money for turntables yet, wasn't a DJ. This is 1992 going to 93.
Okay.
And I just decided I started a company, and we did some house parties, some parties in the beginning, because in Miami there wasn't a lot of places to go and listen to hip-hop. There weren't clubs. There weren't hip-hop. It wasn't on the radio like that in the early 90s. So the parties where all the local hip-hop heads would congregate, you know, and come to. So I threw a couple parties, and we've had some issues. Some parties got shot up in the beginning. There was
Shut up.
yeah, like local crews and gangs that had beef with, because that's where everybody would go. Like it was literally like a party. Everybody from the city would come that was a hip hop head, and sometimes it would be hip hop heads, and sometimes you had gang members, and just stuff would pop off. So So fast forward a little bit, me trying to figure out the industry. I'm reading as much as I can. The Source magazine was big at that time.
Right.
I'm reading all the articles about whether it be locally, Luke Records, Ruthless Records in LA. Then when Wu-Tang came out, like I'm trying to like piece together like their stories and seeing how it fits in my world and what I can get from it. And then something really lucky for me happened. A convention came to Miami in like 94, 95 called How Can I Be Down? And because I didn't have any connections to the industry. And it brought the industry to me.
Wow.
And I was able to go there and start networking. And that's kind of like where I started to get some traction and do stuff in the industry.
So would you say that was your like a big break? Or?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Well, what really took off for myself and my company is when I started DJing, I decided I wanted to do mixtapes. Because there was already big club DJs out here that were like doing all the clubs and the parties. His name was DJ Epps, was one of the main dudes. There's a bunch of other ones, but Epps was one of the main ones. Then you had, around that time, Khaled's like coming and he's on Pirate Radio, which was the big hip hop radio station, Mix 96. But nobody was really doing mixtapes. So I found that could be my niche, and that's where I could kind of get some inroads, and I started doing mixtapes. So by going to the conventions and seeing the artists come into town, I can get drops from them and freestyles from them. And that like really set me apart from everybody else, because then, you know, it's like, wow, this local DJ's got all these national artists doing stuff for him. And that kind of like, yeah, really was a big break for me.
So how did you handle like the naysayers or the no's that you've gotten?
I mean, to this day, it's still tough to handle no's, but one thing I just early on learned that you just gotta have a thick skin. You gotta have like a plan and goals and really know where you're trying to go with things, because sometimes you meet people and they're kind of chasing a trend or something. And I've always been like, I'm not going to chase a trend, or I'm not going to chase something that, like, people, because I'm Latino, they'll be like, oh, why don't you do like Latin music or do this, or you rap in Spanish, you have rappers. I'm like, no, that's not what I do. I know what I do.
Right.
I know who I am. I know what I do. I know what I'm trying to do. And so I would, I'm not going to say I've never veered off. I might have veered off once or twice, but I was pretty stubborn in my, and just going, in my pursuit and just staying in my lane and creating my own lane, which was very important to me. And then I had a crew of friends that were from high school that stuck around me, and they always, that keeps you grounded. And those people were very supportive and helpful. And that's what kind of kept me on the path.
Okay, do you have anyone that you've asked to help you out, and they said no to you, but now they want you in their team?
Yeah, I mean, they maybe didn't say no straight up, but yeah, there's people that kind of negated us or thought, oh, these guys, It's funny, I try to talk to younger people now, because when I started in 93, I'm 17, 18, my crew were all the same age. And we're going out there and we're doing stuff, and people were saying to us, oh, you're too young. You guys are too young. What are you guys doing? Oh, these young guys, wilding out. And then I tell people now, like, we were the young guys at one point that people were saying, oh, the young guys. And now we're the older guys. So it's like, I tell people, I can still relate to you, because we were the younger guys at one time that were doing things. So yeah, we were always being told no, and for all kinds of different ridiculous reasons, whether you're too young, or you're from Miami, but you're from an area in Miami called Kendall. It's not cool either. You're Latino. It was an array of reasons, and I just decided, whatever. I'm just gonna keep moving, and I kind of set a military mind frame to myself. My dad was in the Marines, is a Marine, because once a Marine, always a Marine. He fought in the Vietnam War. My parents went through a lot of hardships when they moved to this country. So I always try to like think of like my dad, and I had like an attachment to like military stuff, because my dad wasn't in my life very much. Okay. So I used that, him being in the war, like I would watch like war movies and be like obsessed with like stuff having to do with Vietnam and the war. And that was kind of like my connection to my dad. The way I translated that later on in the future for me is I try to like have somewhat of a military mindset. I told my friends, we got to be very organized. We're the young guys. We don't have money, but what do we have? We can be consistent, persistent, and organized. Right. And that organization eventually, when everybody grew up and got older, kind of like dissipated, but it was very instrumental in those early years to set us apart from everybody else and to keep us moving even when the doors were closing all around us.
Right, you've experienced door being closed, so I just feel like just speaking to you a little bit earlier, that you giving back to your community. Just for example, the podcast, like the studio right here,
Right.
like you're giving back. Can you speak on that just a little bit?
Yeah, well, when it comes to podcasting, I always promote that everybody should podcast or try. If you have a voice and there's something you want to talk about, then
Right.
do it. You know, I'm not like those people who be like, oh, don't do what I'm doing. But I also learned that from the podcast community that put me onto podcasting. I always shout out my boy, Danny, Godfrey is his nickname. He has a podcast called Gamertag Radio. And I'm here talking to the mic. So I hope you hear me fine out there. So shout out to Godfrey. He put me onto podcasting. He was an early pioneer in podcasting. He was local around here. And he always told me everybody should podcast. It was like that community felt that, you know, you shouldn't hide these things. You shouldn't keep it to yourself. So I always try to continue that within the podcast world. But with everything else, I always try to give, you know, just advice or lend an ear, or if someone wants to do an interview with me or someone, I always try to do, you know, give back in that way, because
Right.
there's people that did that for me at some point, or some people that didn't. And I learned from both of those. The ones that did, I highly appreciated. And the ones that didn't, you know, that bothered me, you know, and
That motivated you.
it
also.
motivated me, yeah. So I feel like I don't want to ever be that to anybody else. The person that says no, you know, I just don't want to be that, and I want to be helpful to the community, to people that are like-minded. I just want to I want to be that OG. I feel like we lack that in our culture right now, meaning specifically in hip hop. I felt like my generation kind of dropped the ball, and we stopped, you know, giving back, you know, what we've learned, kind of giving that advice back and that experience back, so other people don't have to go through some of the things that we went through that didn't work out.
Yeah. So the person you are today, right? Versus the person you were, let's say, when you were 17, 18.
Right.
I mean, it's just like all that wisdom that you've gotten.
Right.
If somebody in the industry didn't want to come in right now and be DJ EFN,
Mm-hmm.
what are their chances, and how can they be as big as you, or experienced as you?
Wow. I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna have the same path at all. So I don't
Right.
think anybody could come in and do exactly what I did, because, you know, there's just everything has its time, and there's timing to everything. But I think there's a lot of opportunity for people out there. I feel that in the entertainment industry specific, people have to understand it's the arts. And I always talk to younger people and I say, if you're gonna get involved in the arts, really have a passion for it, like
Right.
really love it, because it's a hard road to go to. It's a hard road to make a career and make a living. It's not easy. It wasn't easy for me. To this day, I still feel like it isn't easy, even though I'm doing okay. Like, I have children now. I'm having another child. I worry every day, because it's not like a job that you have with a 401k and this, that, and the other. You know,
Right.
something could go wrong, one emergency away from a disaster, you know, and you got to prepare for these things. So not everybody, it's only 1% that makes it to the millions and billions.
Right.
You know, and so as long as you understand that, then, you know, and you do it because you really have a passion for it, then you could probably withstand, you know, the ups and downs and the pitfalls.
I mean, not everyone has to be a millionaire or a billionaire to be happy.
No, not
right?
at all. Exactly. That's the thing. Not everybody has to be a millionaire, not everybody's going to be a millionaire and a billionaire.
Right.
So I think a success in this industry is just making a living off of what you love doing.
Right.
And people need to get out of their minds what they see in music videos, or when they see just whatever, you know, the exaggeration of what the industry is. When you come to a realization of what it really is, and you have a passion for it, and you make a living off of it, you made it. That's it.
Right.
That is success.
Would you say it's easier to become somewhat of an influence because of the social media era than before, or is it diluted?
I don't know. You know, I think it's diluted. I do think so. I think that there was like a time frame where people got into it and they were able to get ahead in social media. But I don't know, the social media thing, I think we still don't know the ramifications of social media. It's going to be another few years before we truly see what the results are. And I don't think they're going to be good.
Yeah.
Because what's happening there is just like people would look at music videos and say, oh, that's what it is to be, you know, you have the big cars, you have the girls, you have the chains, you have this. Social media is doing that to a degree as well. Even though there's a lot of people that are being honest on social media, but there's a ton of people not being honest.
Right.
And a lot of people are gravitating towards that, you know, dishonesty. And even if they're being honest, they're filtering their life on social media.
Absolutely.
So someone thinks that that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and even the people that don't filter, and sometimes I have a problem with this, is the people that go on there and share too much, or, you know, and they're in the hospital, and I don't know, what do you want me to do? Am I supposed to like that picture? Like, I don't know, social media to me is crazy.
Yeah.
My girlfriend and I, we're 10 years apart. So she comes from a different social media generation, I say,
Right.
where she's more about sharing. Now, her circle is smaller because it's not like a public figure.
Right.
But I don't understand, like I told her, I don't know how you do it, where you kind of share a lot of your personal life. Where me, she's like, you do it too? I go, no, I look at it more business. You know, you'll see less personal, more business, even though they said it's the wrong way to utilize social media to get likes and follows and whatnot. But yeah, I can't grasp it. I don't know what the future, like what the results of social media, it's yet to be seen what's going to happen to the generations.
Absolutely. No, it's coming. Like your children's children.
Yeah.
Oh, then that's going to be a whole different ballgame when it comes to, you know, what we're going through right now. I just feel like it's going to be amplified.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Real quick, a friend of mine, a guest we had, I have another podcast called Fatherhoods, where we talk about, it's two of my other friends, we talk about being fathers, like coming from a hip hop perspective and stuff, and we have guests all the time. And he talked about recently in an episode we released about his children. He went ahead and got all their social handles.
Okay.
So that nobody could ever, like, he doesn't know in the future if someone might grab somebody's name and then post some like pornography or something. So he grabbed all their social handles, he grabbed their Gmail account, and he grabbed their domain name, like their fullname.com and all of that stuff.
That's perfect.
In anticipation, yeah. And I thought that was like, wow, that's really interesting.
That is. That's just being safe, you know? So what is your routine like? Do you have like a ritual? Do you have any rituals?
Like daily?
Daily, yeah.
Well, my rituals changed a lot since I had my daughter. So the morning, wake up, that's the time that my girl will usually go to the gym. And so I take care of our daughter in the morning. You know, I get her up in the morning, I feed her, I eat breakfast, watch some cartoons with her, play with her, have her run around. And then, you know, I just, you know, have my little breakfast, drink water and vitamins or whatever I'm doing. And then my girl gets back from the gym, then I get to work. I'll go to the office, come to the studio, and just take calls and conference calls and do what I gotta. That's when I'm home. Then there's time periods where I travel a lot, and that's kind of gotten tougher now having, you know, the children.
So you have to have like the balance of work. Is it a work-life balance, or are you were able to merge it where it's?
No, I'm still figuring it out, to be honest with you. It's not easy. It's been a little stressful because my daddy instincts that have come in make me want to just be with my daughter and my family all the time.
Oh, it's a whole different lifestyle.
It's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
And even to the point of what I do, I can't even lie about it. Like, I even am like second guessing the content that I'm doing sometimes because of my family and my daughter, and now that I'm having another child. So I'm in a transitional period right now myself, personally.
Okay. So before you end this, do you want to share anything with our viewers, like a motivational and inspirational?
Oh, wow. I would just say one of the things that I've always told people is a phrase that I use: polite persistence. You can get a lot done with polite persistence. Don't give up. If you're trying to interview somebody, if you're trying to have a meeting with somebody, go after it. Be persistent. Be smart. If you know, at a point, if someone is just like no means no. That's also the thing. No means no. But if someone doesn't say no to you, then you can keep going. Just be polite about it.
Right.
Because the one thing people can't turn down is someone that's polite. And I think we lack that a lot nowadays. People get mad, they get offended very easily. Oh, the person didn't want to talk to me. Oh, well, the hell with you then, you know? No need to be upset. You know, maybe that person's busy, maybe that person's this, but you can keep going. Maybe it didn't happen this month, maybe it didn't happen this year, but maybe next year it did. Because you know what? That person was always cool. And maybe that day they're open, you know, they're in a good mood, or they have open dates and they're like, that person's always been pretty cool about this. Yeah, let's do it.
Right.
So polite persistence, I would say, will take you a long way.
I agree with you. That's a great advice. Thank you so much for.
No, thank you for having me. To do in stores, and then people would come and get autographs, and that's kind of how you promoted an event, you know, a show.
Right.
So they brought Nori to my store, and I had this digital 4-track, which I actually have in that room still. And I used to get freestyles from artists. And Nori came by, and I gave him the mic, and I gave him headphones. I go, I got some instrumentals. I need you to do some freestyles for me. He knocked out like 3 freestyles. Wow. And then we just hit it off. I don't know what it was. We joke around that because he's Puerto Rican and I'm Cuban. That was the connection. We just got along really well. We're actually 2 completely different people, but we got along really well. Mm-hmm. And from that point on, I would advocate for him as an artist out here. I had a marketing company. I was DJing, so I was always promoting him, like if he was my own artist. Right. And I remember I would hear people say, "Oh, Nori shouted you out in Hot 97." So he was advocating for me and my crew out there, and he put some of my artists on tour with him. He did songs with us. In turn, I'm always putting him on my mixes. So it was just like this synergetic thing that we were just always working together. And it went on for years, so we just built like a really good bond. We're like, his crew is we're all family, and eventually he moved to Miami, and we were his family here, and the rest is history.
So where do you see Drink Champs going? I mean, it's at its highest, I would say, right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know where it's going. I love what we do because I tell people I feel that although we can interview new artists or whatever, we're home to artists from our generation, to pioneers, to legends. And what I feel is that they always can come to us whether if they don't have a new project, doesn't matter. They have knowledge, they have history to share, and I feel really happy that we're a home for that. Right. And I think being that, we can be here for as long as we want. So it just really depends on when we want it, how long we want to do it for, really.
Right. So do you see it being any different than like what you guys do at Circle? In the Circle, and then you have the drinks. Like, do you see like another season it would be different, or it's just like however it is? Are you just going with the flow because it's already successful?
I mean, we change it up. It changes from here and there, but I think the formula is there. Yeah. To be honest, my personal opinion on what I see the future is I see us maybe taking it from a weekly show and maybe condensing it to doing smaller seasons that we give out there, because I don't want us to oversaturate the market. And also, like I mentioned to you before, I'm getting to a point where even content is on my mind in terms of like what we're putting out there. And although it's fun and it's cool, and I don't have any regrets of us being a show that drinks and we get crazy, I don't want that to be the mark we make for the long term. I want it to be the content in terms of what people are saying, and not the antics of drinking in the long run. I don't want us to be the negative. I want us to make sure we stay on the positive. So maybe that means, toning it down in terms of like maybe the amount of episodes we bring out and kind of concentrating on getting certain people, and that's really what we concentrate. I don't want the legacy of Drink Champs to be that we encourage people to get drunk. That's not what neither myself or Nori intended. Right. We were just doing what we were naturally doing in the studio, and we put it on camera and we recorded it, and that was really authentically what we were just doing ourselves in the studio. But everybody evolves. Absolutely. And just because we were doing it in the studio 10 years ago doesn't mean we're going to be doing it 10 years from now. Now we're juicing, we're greens, we're in the gym, Nori's running, maybe he becomes a grandfather, I'm having more kids, and maybe I become, like, we evolve, and and the content will evolve with us, because everybody's evolving, we're all evolving together. So it doesn't mean we can create content around our evolution.
Have you ever done like a live show, meaning like live audience, and then you go from like a tour? Have you done that?
We've done some live ones. It's not our favorite. Okay. Doing a show like ours, live can be weird, and so it's not. It just doesn't feel as authentic when it's live. Okay. And then you have it's just very unpredictable. But we've done a couple. We did the Roots Picnic, which was really dope, actually. We've done a handful of them, and I would say out of the ones we've done, it's been 50-50 whether we've enjoyed the experience or not. But I mean, people want us to go on tour with it, so it is a possibility. It's just the nature of the show is a little weird when it comes to like touring it live.
No, I can see that. Yeah. Like, do you see yourself putting yourself in another project anytime soon? Oh, the movies.
Oh, the films, yeah.
Like the films.
So Coming Home is a film series that I started well, I filmed the first one in 2012. And it just purely started with me wanting to follow my roots, which is Cuba. Because of the revolution and the communism, you know, I had never been to Cuba, and I just wanted to see Cuba, and like I felt like it was still in a bubble, and I wanted to go there before it had a McDonald's and a Taco Bell on every corner. That was my mindset at the time. So I went, and I don't know if you know many Cubans, but a lot of Cuban Americans and Cuban families from the generation of my parents and myself, it was very taboo to go back to Cuba. They feel like you're giving money to the communist regime, and they're very anti that. It's very taboo to do anything having to do with Cuba. But I went, and I felt that if I was gonna go, I might as well film the experience. And I felt that if I was gonna go and film the experience, might as well seek out hip hop artists and anybody, like just see what the culture's like in Cuba. And that's what we did. Came back, put together this independent film, and it got to film festivals. You know, it got a lot of press, and people really said they loved it. And then we started getting people saying, "Man, I really would love to follow my family roots, just like how you did." And I was like, "Well, maybe I can do that for you." Right. So I decided to do a series then based on that, where we go to different countries and we kind of explore the countries through the culture of hip hop. So it's through the scope. So we're meeting the b-boys, the DJs, the graffiti artists, the MCs. And we're letting them kind of take us through their neighborhoods, but it's also about learning about the country through them, and we're learning about, you know, the socioeconomics, the whatever politics are going on there, you know, everything about the country through the eyes of the hip hop artists. Right. And it's been a really, really enlightening experience, and going to these countries and interacting with these people has really made me appreciate and remind me why I was so passionate about hip hop when I was younger, because sometimes you lose that, right? You know, because when you get involved in the industry side, it just becomes this like industry machine, and you're fighting it all the time, and you're trying, you know. But it reminded me of the purity of the art form that I really fell in love with, right? And so I just really love doing them. They're passion projects, but they've been released on. They're actually the first one. Cuba was the first original acquisition on Revolt TV when they launched in 2013. And after that, they licensed Haiti, Peru, and Vietnam. And then now we have Colombia and South Africa's in post-production, which we haven't released. And I look forward to doing, I want to go everywhere with the series. I want to travel everywhere.
Sounds really.
I really love doing it, and it's been a labor of love, and it's been really fun.
Would it be like in Netflix or Prime?
That's what I would love to take it, you know. What I want to do is, I feel that these films deserve top production. I feel they can win Emmys. I was a big fan of Anthony Bourdain. I don't know if you guys were. Rest in peace, Anthony Bourdain. And I really loved the way he used what he knew, which was food, right? But it wasn't about food. The food was just a conduit to a conversation about everything going on and connecting with people on an individualistic level. And that's what I try to do with this. Hip hop, I'm a DJ and I'm hip hop, but it's not about hip hop. I'm showing you how hip hop is international, and it's interconnected with everybody. Right. But hip hop is the key to open the door to learn more about the country and the people. And I want to tell their stories, not our story. What's going on for them? What's their truth? What's their reality? Sometimes what's the positive and the negative of hip hop? Like sometimes you'll see the negative influence of hip hop in a country. Maybe they gravitate towards the gangbanging and the gangsterism of hip hop. Maybe the positive side is other things that they're gaining, and we're seeing all of this stuff play out, but then we're learning about the country as a whole. It's really been, it's fun, and I enjoy doing them.
No, it sounds like I want to keep watching, you know. So it'd be dope if you could get it into like Netflix.
That's the goal. That's the goal right now.